Welcome back, everybody. It's Jimbobbington. Today we are going to go over the stock license plate bracket. There it is. Probably one of the first things you will ever do as a bobber owner is kick this thing with your shin super duper hard. And it's a pain in the ass. So, one of the cheapest, quickest, easiest ways to fix that is this 3D printed license plate mount made by a fellow Bobber Nation member, our Facebook group. And it basically utilizes the stock parts and connects like such and allows you to make your plate vertical. So my neighbor just started power washing his driveway after a rain. So I guess we will wait till he's finished. I'll be right back and we'll get this thing done. I'll show you how to do it. All right, the neighborhood is nice and quiet now, and we are back. So to complete this, you need very few tools. You need a socket of some sort, an 8mm wrench of some sort, 8mm socket, some random extensions, 5, a 6, and a 4mm Allen. Basically, so Michael Kendall is the Facebook group member that makes these things. 3D prints them himself. I believe he engineered it himself as well. So all the stock parts go back into this. It allows you to utilize the stock light. Pretty cool little thing. Pretty cheap compared to some of the other options out there. But first thing you need is your 6mm. And you got to take off the, what is this, fender guard? I don't know what that's called. 2 bolts. Very simple to remove. I will also be taking the seat off. We'll be doing some pictures very soon. All right, so with this removed, on the back here, this wire is what leads to, son of a bitch. Okay, like I was saying, this wire leads to the light. There's just a little clip in there. You just pull that up. And let me see if I can get real close on this. All right, so here, there's just a tiny little clip you need to pull up on and pull the two apart. So whether you need a fingernail or a flathead, that's up to you. I'm going to pull that apart. All right, so that whole assembly is disconnected now. Next part is underneath. Let's see if I can find it. Where are you? Okay, so those are 2 5mm bolts that we need to pull down from inside. I lied, they may still be 6mm. Let's find out. Yes. They are 6mm. Voila. All right, so the next part is to get these 2 guys off. This is just a cover so you can get the wiring out. Also at the very bottom, there's this nut or bolt. So this one may be easier to take off on the bike. I believe Michael's instructions say to do that while it's still connected. But the bottom one is a 5mm. And if you've broken it loose before, No issue at all getting this loose. Now this part is holding in a big spring, which allows this to pivot. So if you kick it, it doesn't just break off. It goes kind of both ways. So you can see that spring and a bolt and washer. Now using the 4mm bit, you can get these two bolts out. And that whole cover comes off. And all that does is give the wiring a place to route through. So once you have that removed, you can carefully pull this out. Now be careful, inside of here there's still a bit you want to keep. And once we get these two nuts off, we'll be able to remove that. All right, so this is where this little 8mm socket comes in handy. Now with those loose, you can pull the light out carefully and just pull the whole thing through. Now when you turn it upside down, you got this little guy, and it's kind of like a pivot point for where you kick it, and it locks in the new angles. So hold on to this, you'll be putting it back. Okay, so once you have all of the stock parts apart, first thing you want to do is insert this little guy into here, since that is the last thing you took out. And these ribbed parts are what you want to go on top. So this part facing down, just kind of stick it in there, make sure it seats properly. Then you can insert the wire back up through. And the light reattaches like so. Now it's a little bit tricky because there's not a lot of clearance here, and the original nuts are a little bit bigger than this would like them to be. So you have to get each one just connected just so slightly and then work them on. All right, that one's barely on. All right, so the issue is you can get one nut on, but this other one is not going to cut it. We just need a little bit more clearance on the inside here. So I'm going to bust out the Dremel and just very lightly sand away some of this material on the center on both sides. I don't want to thin it out too much. Okay, so as you can see, just lightly sanded a tiny bit out of both sides. Let's see if we can get it to fit now. Very little clearance to get in there. But with just a tiny bit of sanding, both of these were able to get on and get started. You don't need to get crazy tight with it. All right, so you can see the little divots on the bottom of this piston that fit into that plastic collar we inserted. The wire goes up through this slot. So in here, the wire is on the flat side. So you kind of want to insert this so that the wire can slip in between them, and you are good to go. Then it's just a matter of reinstalling the little cover. Don't forget to reinsert your spring. And then lock it down with your washer and bolt. Make sure this little tab goes in that slot before tightening it down. And then reassemble with the bolts on the bike. All you gotta do is reconnect your clip, slip that back in the little notch, and then reattach the fender. Since I just took the seat off, I need to be able to stick these back on. Almost forgot. I don't know why all my neighbors decided it was a good day to make noise. Give me your hole. And there you have it. New license plate mount. That you are not going to kick. Easy, 40 bucks. Michael sends it out. It shows up in like 2 days. Not something you gotta wait a long time for, but I will put the link to Michael's Facebook down in the comments. Whew, but this is Jimbobbington reminding you, don't be a skid mark. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.